Hey, hi. Before this video starts, I just want to let you know that you can follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/JoeFromSeattle. I stream every single day. You can also follow me on Twitter at JoeFromSeattle1, and that's also the same as my Instagram at JoeFromSeattle1. Just throwing that out there. So, another year, another Call of Duty game. Despite the fact that I have not really been doing much Call of Duty on YouTube, I still play COD a bit. For those of you who are newer to the channel, maybe you're newer to Twitch, you're here from somewhere else. I started off my whole YouTube, Twitch adventure thing as a Call of Duty channel, but then just kind of lost interest in the game. But I picked up Black Ops 4 on PC, and I just wanted to give my thoughts on it because I think there is a lot to talk about with this game. There is a lot this game does pretty damn well. But there's also a lot that this game does fucking terribly. So I just wanted to, get my thoughts out there. So I'm going to section this video off into the positives, the middle ground, and then the negatives. But positives, the game looks very good. It looks and runs very well on PC. I know that something, and also just going forward, again, I played this game on PC. So I understand that there's some console-specific problems, like bugs and some balancing issues, but it's different on PC than it is on console, so just keep that in mind going forward. But most of the things I talk about in this video will be universal to the game, the design of the game itself, as opposed to platform-specific things. But at least on PC, the game looks and runs very well, for me at least. I know a lot of people have been having problems. Some people have been having problems with crashes and bugs. I personally have not had any problems with the PC version. I've had, 3-4 crashes. I'm almost at first prestige of multiplayer, and I've only crashed a handful of times. Which, it'd be great if that didn't happen, but, it's much better than what I hear the console version is like. Game also runs very well. I play at a mix of medium to very high settings, and I'm usually running a consistent 90 to 100 FPS with really no big drops. So the game runs pretty well on PC. Another positive is the gameplay itself. The game feels very good on PC. It's smooth, it's responsive, it's everything you would want out of a PC shooter. It doesn't feel like anything is holding you back. It feels like you win gunfights because you hit your shots, and you lost gunfights because you missed your shots. And that's something that's very simple, but a lot of games still get that wrong. The next thing I want to talk about it's positive, but it kind of moves into a middle ground thing, is the specialists. I think the specialists offered something pretty unique to this game. It's not unique in the sense that nobody's done this before. I mean, the whole specialist system is pretty much ripped straight from BO3, and the system there was ripped from, Titanfall and Destiny and Rainbow Six. But I think overall, the gameplay of Black Ops 4 is very different from other Call of Duty games, and I think the specialists actually complement this gameplay pretty well. Now, but where this transitions into the worst side is certain specialists are way too good. I think the concept of specialists works in a game like this, but the balancing of the specialists themselves needs some work. Personally, I'm someone who plays a lot of Overwatch. I have a lot of experience with hero shooters. I play a lot of Overwatch. I played a decent amount of TF2 back when I was in college. I've played a good amount of hero shooters. Black Ops 4 is not a good hero shooter. It's a decent shooter. As a multiplayer shooter, it's alright. But as a hero shooter, as the thing it's trying to be, it's not good at that. The balancing is way off. And some leaks came out recently that, that say that Treyarch that there was a guy who was fired from Treyarch, and he said that he was one of the only people in the office who actually played the game outside of work. And I completely believe it. Because there are a lot of things in this game that just would not be there if Treyarch actually play tested their games more than, bare minimum bug testing. For example, Ajax is a completely broken, overpowered character. Ajax and Prophet are completely overpowered characters. Ajax has the 9-bang, which was completely broken for a long time, and even after they nerfed it, even now, it's still, the 9-bang is still completely broken, because for some reason, it's a flashbang that lasts forever and restricts your movement. My biggest problem with the 9-bang is the fact that when you get 9-banged, you cannot crouch, you cannot go prone, you cannot reload your gun, you cannot switch weapons, and these are all things that you could do in previous Call of Duty games. In other Call of Duty games, if you got flashed, you could drop to the ground, you could, you could do something about it. But in this game, if you get flashed by the 9-bang, you just have to stand there and take it, which is a huge just design flaw. I don't know how that still hasn't been patched, even after Ajax's 9-bang was nerfed. And even still, Ajax is completely broken. His ultimate, his shield thing, there's no counter to that at all. And I think and my biggest problem with a lot of the specialists is something that Optimus brought up in one of his recent videos, is that the specialists reward you for just existing. A lot of the specialists reward you for just existing. Whereas in other hero shooters, especially Overwatch, ultimates aren't just free kills. Yes, you earn your ultimate essentially just by existing. Yeah, you can speed it up, but even the worst players will get their ultimates. But even still, you have to know what you're doing. An ultimate in Overwatch is not just a bunch of free kills. An ultimate in Overwatch is essentially just another weapon that you have to use, and every ultimate has pros and cons. But the thing with the ultimates in Black Ops 4 is they're completely overpowered. A lot of them are. And, certain ones I think are fine. I think the Gravity Slam is fine. I think pretty much all of the non-lethal specialist abilities are fine. But it's the War Machine, it's the Tempest, and it's Ajax's shield thing that seriously need to be reworked because they're way too good right now. Because there's no real counter to them, and they reward players for not doing anything substantial. You can be the worst fucking player in the game and still get kills with these weapons, and that's the problem. But again, that's more of a design problem. It's something that Treyarch is not going to change because that's what Call of Duty is now. And that leads me to another point. That Black Ops 4 has a lot of good ideas, but I feel like it's just being restricted by this overlying Activision order to make games more accessible, to make games less punishing to new players so they'll keep playing and buy microtransactions. Which is weird to me because this is the game that leading up to release, we were told over and over and over again that this game was going to be more competitive, it was going to be more serious, more grounded, that the guns now have predictive recoil so you can get really fucking good with them, and yet we still have these crutches in the game that completely break the flow, completely break the balance, and it's just strange to me. Another thing I want to talk about is the maps. Black Ops 4 has I think a third of the maps right now are just remakes of old good Black Ops maps. The remakes are all good because they were good before, but the new maps are not good. They're not bad, they're not terrible, but they're not good. But there's also a thing that I've noticed that the specialist abilities and the specialist equipment and all that, they work really well on the new maps, and they don't work well on the old ones. So we have a weird situation where the specialists just don't really work on the remakes, but the remakes are the better maps. And then you have this group of not very good maps, but the specialists work really well there. And it brings up another point that a lot of people have said, that we need playlists on the classic maps with no specialists. Because the gunplay in this game and the time to kill in this game, I love it. I think it's really, really good. It's some of the best we've had. Granted, notice I'm not saying gun balance. I don't think the gun balance is good. And I'll get into that later. But the gunplay The gameplay, it feels great. This game feels great. I think the time to kill is really good. I think the manual healing is great. I think all of the gameplay changes that have been made were really good ones. I think they were changes that needed to be made to get me to start caring again and get a lot of other people to start caring again about Call of Duty. But the specialists just don't work on the old maps because they were not designed for them. And since I brought up gun balance, might as well talk about gun balance. Gun balance is completely fucked on PC. I don't know why they're just copy pasting the updates from console to PC. I thought they weren't going to do that, and they started not doing that a little bit, but they're still just doing so many things wrong with the balance on PC. You cannot balance a PC shooter like a console shooter, and the main reason for that is because of recoil. On a console shooter, when people playing on a controller, recoil is a massive, factor in gun balance. It's much harder to control recoil on a controller than it is to control recoil on a mouse and keyboard. But now you have guns like the Spitfire, like the Maddox. You have these high recoil guns that are just completely overpowered on PC because recoil isn't really a factor on PC. It's just statistical damage. You need to do something to the Maddox. You need to do something to the Spitfire on PC because these weapons are overpowered. And the Titan, I don't know what you guys were fucking thinking with the Titan. Honestly, I don't know what you guys were thinking keeping LMGs in the game anyways. I'm of the opinion that LMGs just should not be in Call of Duty. They do not work in a game like Call of Duty. They never have, and they never will. In a time-to-kill game with small maps, LMGs do not do anything good for the balancing of the game. And the Titan is the perfect example of that. The Titan LMG is completely overpowered. On every console, but on PC especially. And I don't know why LMGs continue to be put in Call of Duty games. They've been banned in competitive for years and years now. So why are they still here? The Mag 12 shotgun, I'm a little iffy on because as just standard gun, the Mag 12 is fine where it is. But with the Dragon's Breath mod, the operator mod, it's way too good. And the main reason for that, I think, is the fact that the counter to the Dragon's Breath mod is that when you get hit by it, it'll just gradually drain your health until you heal. But the healing animation, like from the time that you press your healing button to the time that the healing actually starts, is a couple seconds. So when you get shot by the Dragon's Breath, if you don't have stim shot on, you're pretty much just dead. So people can get one-shot kills from ridiculous distances with the Mag 12. And again, this just comes back to things that come up when you don't playtest your games. If Treyarch playtested their games, they would know that the Dragon's Breath attachment needs to be reworked because the counter to the Dragon's Breath attachment does not work the way it's supposed to. But it's still here. And I think that's just my biggest problem with this game. Is it's a ton of fun, and I really enjoy it, but there's just so many little things that if the person who leaked all these things about Treyarch is to be believed, these little things are never getting fixed. I mean, recently there was a glitch discovered with the whole like battle task tier thing where your progress could get reset out of nowhere, and Treyarch hasn't acknowledged it. Because they don't want to acknowledge it. Why would they acknowledge it? They already have your money. Now, let's get into the ugly things, like the really bad things I think about this game. The kill streaks are fucking ridiculous, and not in a good way. The Sniper's Nest, the Attack Chopper, the Mantis, and the Drone Squad are all way too powerful. They kill far too quickly, and they take way too long to shoot down. And I think the biggest problem I have with the streak system is the fact that you now get full credit for kills just by damaging someone. If I shoot someone once for 1 damage, and then someone else kills them, I still get a full 100 points. And this leads to streaks getting called in way more often than previous Call of Duty games. And you may say, oh, cool, we know more streaks to go around. And that's what I thought at first as well. But it also means that people camp more for the high streaks, because it's way easier to get high streaks. It's easier than ever to get the high streaks, and the high streaks are completely broken. I think in order to fix this, assists should no longer give you full kill credit. They should give you half. If you're playing in mode where kills are 100 points, if you get an assist, you should get 50 points. If you're playing a 50-point kill mode, assists should get you 25 points. Assists should not be giving you full point credit, because that makes the game way too hectic, and it makes the higher streaks get called in way more, and like I said, the higher streaks are fucking overpowered as shit. And while I mentioned the Battle Pass thing, let's talk about the Battle Pass thing. It's stupid. It is so stupid. It's a terrible, terrible system. And I think the worst part about this system is that it replaces something that was actually good about previous Call of Duty games. Call of Duty games have always had really good cosmetic, not always, but recent Call of Duty games have had really good cosmetic customization. They've had really good progression. They've had really good challenges. One of my favorite parts about Black Ops 3 was doing all of the challenges for all of the specialists. There were specialist-specific challenges with things, with their abilities, really hard challenges. Some of them were really hard. And that was fun. You unlocked outfit pieces, and you could mix and match the outfit pieces. You don't have that anymore. Now, all of your progress is linked to this Battle Pass system, and I wouldn't have as much of a problem with that if the system itself wasn't fucking stupid. The reason why the Battle Pass works in Fortnite is because it is a free game, and it's a battle royale. It is a straightforward battle royale. A tier system like this for customization and cosmetic items does not work in a full-fledged hero shooter like this. And you can it's hard. It's really, honestly, it's kind of hard for me to explain why it bugs me so much, but it's just so much of the Call of Duty formula, what made people like the game, so much of it was just gutted to make room for this tier system. This grindy, time-based tier system. And that's just not okay. No, hardly anyone is actually going to get these high things. There's no challenges involved with them. There's no skill involved with them. It's just time played equals tiers or buy the tiers. And it's fucking insane to see this in a $60 game. But, it's Activision, so what do you expect? I won't talk much about Blackout. Personally, I don't really like Blackout all that much. I haven't played very much just because I'm not a huge fan. I can see why people like it. It's just not really my kind of game. So if you want more Blackout, opinions and criticisms, I would go somewhere else. In terms of Black Ops 4, I've been way more focused on the multiplayer. Same with zombies. I was never really much of a zombies fan to begin with. But overall, I think just for what you're getting for your money, Black Ops 4, I think it's not worth $60. If this game was $30, it would be great. If this game, even $40, I would say is reasonable. Not great, but reasonable. But for $60, you can do better than this game. You can do better than this game for $60. And for fuck's sake, you can do so much better than this game for $110. Are you shitting me? $110 for what? This game and a bunch of undisclosed maps? Fuck out of here. But overall, I think Black Ops 4, it's interesting. It's an interesting game. I am definitely having more fun with this game than I did with World War II. And I'm having much more fun with it than I did with Infinite Warfare. Black Ops 4, it's definitely the best COD game in a while. In a good while, it's the best COD game in a while. But you also have to remember that the standards are pretty low right now. So it's really not saying a whole lot. If you're someone who likes Call of Duty, you probably already bought the game. But if you're someone who has been waiting to get back into Call of Duty, like maybe you've been kind of burned out, and you've been out of it for a few years, and you've been, wondering if this is the game to get you back into it, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Because I don't see myself playing this game for much longer, is the thing. I really don't see myself playing this game much longer. As much as I've enjoyed my time with it, as much fun as I've had with it so far, I just don't see myself playing much longer. I'm about to hit first prestige, and I don't know if I'm gonna play much further than second, third tops, if I even make it that far. There's just something about this game that isn't as replayable as games like Black Ops 2 or Modern Warfare 2 or COD 4. There's just something missing here. And I guess that's just what happens when your series becomes so successful and so routine that you have to constantly come up with new gimmicks and new things, and eventually it just becomes a brand. You know, Call of Duty it's just a brand now. It's not a series, it's just a brand that gets stamped on a bunch of random games with some overlapping elements, but not a lot. You know, I don't know. It's fun. Black Ops 4 is fun. If you can get it for $30, get it for $40. You could probably get your money out of it. But I guess my final say on Black Ops 4 is it's fun, but it's not going to get you back into Call of Duty if you weren't already into it, and it's absolutely not worth $60. But those are just my opinions. Everyone has their own opinions, and that's what's fun about opinions. Everyone has them, they're different. So I'm going to wrap up this video. Thank you guys for watching if you've made it this far. I will see you guys next time. I'm trying to get a bit more consistent on YouTube, but it's a little tough with my schedule, especially with how much I've been streaming. But speaking of streaming, you can go ahead and follow me, twitch.tv/JoeFromSeattle. Sub with Twitch Prime or don't. And I will see you guys next video.